Part 47. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 461. Du Jiali smiled when he heard this. I've always been curious about what Li Hoxian has hidden. When they were about to fight, Du Jiali suddenly asked. It was this question that made the three major families stunned. To be honest, no one wants to be a pawn, but now that they have entered the game, there is no way. One of the three major families and Li Chen must die. Since he doesn't want to die, he can only let others die. If Li Chen dies like this, then there are some truths that the four major families will never get to know in their lifetime. This is also what the three major families don't want to see. Because they all want to know, so many people, so many forces, so many masters are staring at the Li family. The Li family must have something worthy of their covetousness. At first, they thought it was the research technology of the Li family, but now it seems that it is not the case. In this case, why not ask? Li Chen looked at the reactions of the three major families and asked back, don't you know? I don't know. Du Jiale and others shook their heads very honestly. Li Chen spread his hands and said, to be honest, I don't know much. I don't even know why you are targeting my Li family. You don't know, Liang Yazhu couldn't help asking this time. As the son of Li Hoxian, how could you not know? Should I know? Li Chen shook his head and said, although we are mortal enemies, think carefully, am I, Li Chen, involved? My dad didn't tell me anything and went there, and I was hunted down by you. What do you think I should understand? He spread his hands, changed his posture and crossed his legs and said, why don't you tell me who is behind you? Let's exchange information, and even if we die, we must die clearly. You see, I have been led by some clues until now, and you are just a pure chess piece. Although you have long planned to annex the Li family, you can't get rid of this situation now. You will always be just a chess piece, right? Li Chen's words are still very tempting. It is easy to fight to the death, but the problem facing everyone now is that there are too many doubts. People are curious, even they are no exception. Li Hoxian is dead, but he left behind a lot of doubts. Li Chen looked at the three major families with a flickering look in his eyes. Cai smiled and said, how about this, you tell us the information you know first, and then we will tell you. Everyone looked strange, and everyone was on guard against each other. Okay, I'll tell you, I probably don't have what you want, and even if I do, I don't know what it is. After all, I was not there when my father died, Li Chen said. In addition, I know that the Murong family is behind the Gao family, and more than half of my life has been controlled by that old thing Murong Hungs. However, after I left the Gao family, I found a strange point. The Murong family only planned a little bit at the beginning, and the rest, it was not the Murong family, but someone planned it in the name of the Murong family. It's a pity that when I wanted to ask the truth, all the people in the Gao family were dead. Du Jiale, Liang Yazhu, and Cai Wu, the heads of the three families, frowned slightly. For a moment, I didn't know whether to believe Li Chen's words or not. Didn't you kill the Gao family? Cai Wu frowned. What a joke. I would have killed them long ago. Why did I kill them after I left? Li Chen looked a little disdainful. These three families were in a dilemma. Should they believe Li Chen's words or not? The former playboy had grown up amazingly. His sincere attitude and sincere words at this moment made the three families in a dilemma. Of course, I also know some other news, such as the Red Skull, and for example, behind you are actually the wealthy families of the capital. Li Chen's words can be said to have surprised the remaining three families to the extreme. This surprise was not false at all. Li Chen clearly saw that the vigilance between the three families reached its peak at the same time. This is interesting. It seems that the three families do not know who is behind each other. Cai Wu was the most stable one, and he said directly, whether what you said is true or false, Let's take it as true. According to what you said, it is the Red Skull organization and the big families in the capital who are planning all this, and the purpose is to keep a secret of your Li family. Yes, Li Chen said. Then you. I said that it's meaningless for you to do this. Li Chen spread his hands. I didn't lie to you a word, and you still want to ask me. If everyone has this attitude, then don't exchange information. The three major families had complicated expressions. Is Li Chen's words true? How true are they? This needs to be identified. Even if what he said is true, the three major families dare not tell it all. Now Du Jiale, Liang Yizhu, and Cain Wu are all shocked, because they found that the person who contacted them behind the scenes has never really revealed his identity information. In other words, although there is someone behind their family, it is true. But who is the supporter is really unclear. Who is the family supported by the Red Skull? Who are the other two big families in the capital? In other words, it is not just two big families in the capital. There are only four families in the first echelon of the capital. Xianyuan family, Sidu family, Dongfang family, and Zheng family. All four families are possible. Of course, all four families may not participate. But the families in the second echelon, to be honest, are not qualified to plan with a large organization like Red Skull. It's not that they look down on the second echelon, but the second echelon does not have the strength and ability at all. In other words, there must be someone involved in the four families in the first echelon of the capital. Being able to catch up with the first echelon of the capital means standing at the top level in the world. But unfortunately, they have not been exposed from beginning to end, which means that they simply treat the four major families in Rongcheng as pawns. The Du family, the Liang family and the Cai family fell into deep thought. Are you still communicating? Li Chen said lazily. If not, then I will settle the account first. As the words fell, Li Chen finally stood up slowly. At this moment, he lost his previous warmth, and the whole person looked particularly different. An extremely solemn and murderous aura lingered around Li Chen. Li Chen's eyes also fell on the Liang family members and said, when Feng Taijun died, he said that it was you, the Liang family, who asked him to poison my grandfather. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 462. The three major families were still carefully identifying the authenticity of Li Chen's words, but Li Chen had no patience to wait for them to slowly identify them. Liang Yizhu frowned slightly and said, "What? Do you want to settle things bit by bit now?" Seeing that the Liang family did not directly answer his questions, Li Chen sighed. "I'm not interested in playing with you." Li Chen waved his hand, and except for Wu Chuping, the other 7 masters came out from outside. The remaining Nangong Hongchuo and Shen Jian needed to protect Li Biwu and Li Zifeng. Among these 7 masters, only one was a mid-level master, and the rest were all great masters. When seeing these 7 masters, the faces of the 3 major families did not show much panic. At most, there was a little more surprise. After all, being able to invite 7 masters was enough to show Li Chen's ability. If the 3 major families did not unite together, they might really be defeated by Li Chen one by one. Diamond sued. Li Chen, hiring people requires favors. Are your favors worth their lives? Liang Yizhu said coldly. Li Chen was too lazy to answer him. The 7 masters moved at the same time. Boom! The ground shattered. Du Jiale and the other 2 waved their hands. There were many masters from the 3 major families, and each family had as many as 4. They were also invited after their strength skyrocketed. Of course, their general combat power is not as strong as the 7 masters on Li Chen's side. But don't forget that there are 12 of them. 12 against 7, still very confident. I heard that you brought your daughter with you. Du Xinyuan of the Du family suddenly laughed. Li Chen silently turned his head to look at the younger generation of the Du family whose name he could not remember. I don't mean anything else, I just want to confirm it. Du Xingyuan said with a faint smile on his lips. I heard that your children are very cute and sensible, so I want to invite them to come and see the wonderful scenes here. The other two major families did not speak, although they felt quite disgusted with the use of children to threaten Li Chen. Du Xingyuan looked at Li Chen's eyes that became dangerous little by little, and smiled. Brother Li will not mind, right? What's your name? Du Xingyuan. Oh, Li Chen smiled and said, the second young master of the Du family. That's me. Du Xingyuan smiled faintly. When Li Chen's smile faded, he grabbed Du Xingyuan with one hand. Du Xingyuan's face remained unchanged, because there was already a Grand Master in front of him. The three major families still have hidden cards, and they brought more than 12 Grand Masters. Young man, don't be impulsive. The Grand Master smiled at the corner of his mouth and warned Li Chen kindly. Really? Li Chen sneered and slapped down with one palm. The mighty power was rolling. You. The Grand Master, who was still smiling just now, suddenly changed his face. No. You are, begging the immortal master for mercy. Everything changed so quickly that no one could react. Especially Du Xingyuan, who felt as uncomfortable as if he had eaten a dead fly. This is a Grand Master, the most powerful person in the world. Why did he ask for mercy? Everything happened too quickly. The three major families that were originally confident of victory just watched a martial arts Grand Master being slapped to death by Li Chen on the spot. The slender and white palm fell, and the Grand Master's pupils contracted, his eyes full of despair and regret. If he knew that he was going to face an immortal master in the realm of heaven and man, he would not dare to come even if he had 10,000 courage. When that palm fell, he could only wait in despair. After reaching the Grand Master realm, he thought he could travel the world. He dare not say that he was invincible, but at least he could walk sideways. Because there are really not many powerful people in the heavenly man realm in the world, and they are all well known. The skull of this Grand Master was shattered, and then his body collapsed little by little, and finally turned into meat mud. Boom! As the ground shook, Du Xingyuan looked at the ground in front of him with horror, and a deep pit was revealed little by little. A living person, a top powerhouse in the world, turned into blood mud just like that. Du Xingyuan was stunned and dumbfounded. It can be said that the surroundings were quiet, and they were all shocked. And the other Grand Masters of the three major families couldn't help but feel cold all over. Looking at the young man walking towards the Liang family, there was an indescribable fear in his eyes. The scene of hundreds of people was instantly shocked by Li Chen alone. Especially the people of the Liang family, they could only watch Li Chen come to them. They wanted to have someone block them, but the problem was that no one dared to step forward. Until Li Chen walked in front of Du Xingyuan, staring at him straight in the eyes. At this moment, Du Xingyuan wanted to slap him twice. Why talk for no reason? But he knew very well that this was the only chance to talk to Li Chen. Li Chen looked at Du Xingyuan with interest and said, "Were you threatening me just now?" Li Chen. Du Xiaohu stood up. Bang! Li Chen waved his hand lightly, and Du Xiaohu flew backwards. With a bang, he hit the low house on the side, and finally fell heavily to the ground, and several teeth fell out. Everyone was silent. They thought that even if this was not a crushing defeat, it was at least a fair contest. But only now did they realize that they were so wrong. Du Xingyuan's Adam's apple rolled and his pupils contracted. Li Chen smiled, "Are you threatening me with my child?" Du Xingyuan felt that the blood flow in his body slowed down. It was really terrible. He had never met Li Chen in this state. But he didn't want to admit that he was afraid of Li Chen. He was not as good as this waste when he was a playboy before. Is it the same now? Du Xingyuan took a deep breath and said, "Yes." Bang! Ah! Du Xingyuan screamed miserably. The moment he admitted it, his whole body seemed to be pressed down by a huge stone. His knees knelt straight on the ground, and the bone fragments were already exposed. Even the road surface was kneeled into a shallow pit, which shows how great the pressure was. Li Chen didn't even do it himself, and Du Xingyuan's legs were already broken. More importantly, Du Xingyuan's knees were shattered, but he did not faint, but remained awake, which was the most torturous. Everyone looked at Li Chen with fear. A playboy is not scary, and a playboy seeking revenge is not scary either. But when a playboy seeking revenge has the ability of martial arts that can control the world, it is very scary. Du Jiale was cold all over. He was too close to his nephew, and he could even hear the sound of bones breaking bit by bit clearly, which pierced his eardrums. Master Du, was it you who ordered Feng Taijun to poison my grandfather? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 463. At this moment, Du Jiale had everyone's attention. There is no way, Li Chen is really attracting too much attention. What's more, this man's fighting ability is unfathomable, which dooms the Du family to sorrow. How terrible that a hidden great master was destroyed in the blink of an eye. Du Jiale's face was as gloomy as water. He didn't expect this situation to happen. He didn't even dare to look into Li Chen's eyes, as if these eyes were a sharp sword that could pierce his heart. Master Du, my patience is limited, Li Chen repeated. There was already a hint of impatience in his voice. Du Jiale slowly regained his composure and said, yes. Why? Li Chen asked. Eradicate the root. After Du Jiale overcame the fear and obstacles in his heart, he was able to look directly into Li Chen's eyes. Can an old man threaten you? Li Chen asked. Hearing this, Du Jiale chuckled and said, old people can achieve great things, let alone Li Chuanlong. It was not our intention to kill your parents, but we have already done it, so let's just do it to the end. Du Jiale had a fierce look on his face. Either don't do it, or leave nothing behind. It's a pity that those people don't want the 4 major families to be exterminated. Perhaps, after all the people were killed, there wouldn't be so many things happening today. Li Chen was convinced by Du Jiale's words. Because from an objective standpoint, Li Chuanlong is indeed the most threatening. Although it is very likely that your big families don't know the inside story behind it, I don't believe it if you really say that there is no inside story at all. Li Chen asked, tell me about it, I will show mercy to you as appropriate. Do you think I will believe you? You weren't even born when we played this trick, Du Jiale sneered. We are all enemies of life and death, will I believe what you say? So, there is no room for negotiation, Li Chen confirmed again. Du Jiale is not talking. When Li Chen saw this, he didn't force himself. He held Du Jiale's mouth with one hand. Under Du Jiale's horrified eyes, he took out a bottle and poured a bottle of medicinal powder into it. Everyone looked at the scene in horror, and Du Jiale couldn't resist at all. Ahem. When Li Chen let go of Du Jiale's mouth, Du Jiale immediately put his fingers on his throat, but even vomiting was of no use because the thing had already gone in. How could the things Li Chen configured be inferior? What did you feed me? Du Jiale looked at Li Chen in horror. Repay the other in the same way, Li Chen smiled slightly and ignored Du Jiale. Ah! Du Jiale was rolling on the ground. The man who was known as the number 1 person in Chengdu had no image at the moment. He hit his head on the ground and blood oozed from his forehead. My body is extremely itchy. Help me, help me. Du Jiale wailed heartbreakingly, scratching his body skin with both hands. Starting from the face, red marks appeared one after another, followed by blood stains. This scene was filled with blood. Everyone watching had shivers running down their spines. It's so scary. Li Chen didn't pay attention to the Du family anymore, because the rest of the people were not very important. His eyes fell on the Liang family. At this moment, the faces of many direct descendants of the Liang family turned pale. Liang is who? You can only kill people with a nod. As a senior, you should know this better than me, Li Chen said coldly. My parents can't fight you. I have nothing to say if they die, but why do we need to dig graves when everyone is dead? Woolen cloth. Everyone around was leisurely shocked. Digging a grave after death? How much hatred is this? Even though everyone is hostile, everything should end with death. However, what makes Li Chen feel strange is that after hearing this, Liang Yizhu and other family members showed more shock than the others. What do you mean? What kind of grave are you digging? Liang Yizhu said angrily. My parents' graves are empty, don't tell me, it wasn't you who instigated it. Liang Yizhu laughed angrily and said, although I, Liang Yizhu, am not a gentleman, I have my own bottom line. Once a person dies, everything ends. My Liang family can't do something as painful as digging a grave. Li Chen was stunned. The rest of the people were even more stunned. Wasn't it made by the Liang family? When Li Chen looked at the Cai family, Cai Anwu said in a deep voice, the Cai family would never do such a thing. They don't even bother to do it. So the question is, who dug the graves of Li Hoqian and Zhao Yufeng? When a person dies, even the corpse will not be spared. What do you want to do? Li Chen could tell whether these two families were lying. At this moment, his heart sank to the bottom. Be careful, suddenly, Yang Ning and Yang Ming roared. Just when Li Chen's mind was slightly turbulent and he was losing ground, the remaining strong men of the Liang family and Cai family moved at the same time. Everyone stabbed Li Chen. Not only these two major families, but also three figures appeared in the sky. They are all in the realm of heaven and humanity. Huang's pressure came with great pressure. At this moment, murderous intent was overwhelming. Liang Yizhu and Cai Anwu immediately retreated with the direct descendants of the two major families, leaving the battlefield to them. Li Chen's eyes flashed coldly, and he glanced coldly at the Liang family and the Cai family. He smiled and said, do you think I delayed it for so long just to talk to you about the family's shortcomings? His eyes looked at the three figures approaching from the sky. Three people in the heavenly man realm really look up to him. If he had not been promoted to the heavenly man realm before this, perhaps today would be his death. The weakness and despair of the three major families were just smokescreens for those who were hiding behind them. What they wanted was for Li Chen to gradually relax his vigilance and kill him when he thought he had the overall situation under control. And the moment when Li Chen's mind was lost was a rare opportunity to kill. Even if Li Chen had entered the early heavenly man realm from a grandmaster, he was not enough to deal with three strong men of the same realm. This was their plan and their confidence. Boom! Countless attacks fell around Li Chen's body almost instantly. The fatal blows of the two hidden grandmasters and dozens of dark power masters hit Li Chen's defensive barrier fiercely. Boom! Between heaven and earth, there seemed to be a drum vibration. The terrifying sound wave attack spread out in the next moment. Li Chen's aura shook, and a powerful recoil force broke out. These dark energy masters were like sandbags that were blown away, flying backwards one by one. Their attacks could not even touch Li Chen's body. Kill. Three masters in the early stage of the heavenly man realm appeared. At this time, a figure also appeared above Li Chen. It was Wu Chuping. I will meet them. Wu Chuping looked at Li Chen. Although he had the strength of the heavenly man realm, he had never fought against the heavenly man realm. This is a rare opportunity. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 464. The improvement of Wu Chuping and others' cultivation was not achieved overnight. They had the foundation. It was just that after the cultivation was increased, they really needed some battles to adapt. This was also the reason why Li Chen never did it himself. Is there anyone more suitable to be a whetstone than these people? Li Chen glanced at the masters of the Cai family and the Liang family and shook his head. They were all a bunch of crooked melons and jujubes, and he looked down on them now. He stomped his foot on the ground lightly, and all the people were shocked into the air, and finally fell down fiercely. There were wails. As for the two masters hidden by the Cai family and the Liang family, they were also scared to death at this time. They never thought that there was a master of the heavenly realm hiding beside Li Chen. The three major families are really going to be finished this time. Under normal circumstances, the three major families are so well prepared that it is absolutely impossible for them to overturn. Because it was not long before the demise of the Li family, even if Li Chen's fortune was overwhelming, it was absolutely impossible for him to challenge the three major families. Whether it is manpower, military force, or financial resources, the three major families should have an absolute advantage. Unfortunately, they did not expect Li Chen to cheat. Moreover, he was extremely powerful. 12 masters plus 3 great masters, a total of 15. This is comparable to the lineup that Li Chen used to cause trouble in the capital. For a small city like Rongcheng, it is definitely a ceiling-level existence. There are even 3 masters of the heavenly realm lurking, which should be from the remaining 3 major forces. Theoretically, the 3 major families are invincible. However, the result is completely the opposite. Li Chen's own financial resources are off the charts. Before he came, his men had already launched a fatal attack on the 4 major families. He fought against the 4 major families alone, and he was even at ease. This shows that Li Chen has so much money that it is terrifying. It seems that there is only one battlefield, but the other one is burning money. Cai Anwu's face is full of despair. The 3 major families are not weak and not unprepared. This kind of preparation can even kill a 3rd echelon of the capital, or even the 2nd echelon. And it was not a bit watered down. But now it's all over. The 3 early heavenly man realm masters were stopped by Wu Chuping. Although the 3 of them suppressed Wu Chuping comprehensively, Wu Chuping was also an old master after all, and he was also a top figure in martial arts back then. The more they fought, the stronger they became. The 3 early heavenly man realm masters were also more and more frightened. Even Wu Chuping was so strong, so what about Li Chen? The hearts of the 3 masters gradually sank. This time everyone seemed to have miscalculated. The 3 heavenly man realm masters looked at each other and had made a decision in their hearts. Retreat. Wu Chuping fought heartily and had long noticed that the 3 of them wanted to evacuate. How could he let them leave? 3 of you, you're here now, don't you dare to show your true face. Boom. Just as the 3 were about to retreat, Li Chen stepped into the air and punched down. The faces of the 3 early heavenly man realm masters changed in horror. Late heavenly man realm. This terrifying punch fell, and the fist mark rapidly enlarged. The 3 of them were horrified and burst out with all their strength. Boom. The dazzling light was released, and the 3 of them spit out blood at the same time. Their bodies retreated more than 10 feet before they stabilized their bodies. Wu Chuping couldn't help but be amazed when he saw this. If we talk about hiding, Li Chen is the best. He hid until now and then made a move, probably because he wanted to catch a big fish. At present, there are 3 Tianren realm masters, who are definitely the biggest fish at the moment. Only Li Chen's strength dares to walk on the edge of the knife. If it were anyone else, they would probably die. Li Chen walked towards him, his breath soaring. How could he let these 3 people leave until now? Those who hide their heads and show their tails, even if they are in the Tianren realm, they dare not show their true faces to others, which is enough to show that such people can't achieve anything. The 3 of them coughed violently and gasped heavily. The Tianren realm is the limit of heaven and earth, and it is difficult for ordinary masters to cross it. The gap between the realms of heaven and man is even greater. Not to mention Li Chen, who is in the late stage of the realm. Even if a master in the middle stage of the realm came, he could beat them. Li Chen is now purely one-sided crushing. Kill. Without saying a word, the three people's aura began to surge. A trace of doubt flashed in Li Chen's eyes. Take a shortcut? Want to be promoted to the middle stage of the realm of heaven and man in a short time, and then fight to the death? He was not in a hurry, because these three people could not leave at all. Sure enough, the aura of these three people exploded to an incredible degree in a short time. Wu Chuping's face changed, his body sank, and he waved his arm, and an invisible force formed a barrier. The four masters of the realm of heaven and man fought, and if he didn't block it, it might be completely over here. Three figures rushed towards Li Chen at an extremely fast speed. A short sword was unsheathed, and the sharp sword light seemed to pierce the sky. Even Wu Chuping below could feel the sharp aura. The other two used fists and knives. The momentum was like a rainbow, and the murderous aura was surging. A sword energy slashed towards Li Chen's head, the fist master hit Li Chen's heart, and the knife master had already slashed at Li Chen from behind. For masters of this level, fighting is often a matter of a blink of an eye. Ordinary people can't see it clearly at all. Li Chen looked at the three people who were full of murderous intent, and flicked his fingers, making a crisp sound. The short sword trembled crazily, at least 1,000 times in this moment. Finally, with a bang, it exploded on the spot. The fist and blade that followed were also instantly here. Li Chen punched out with his left hand, and hit the master who had forcibly improved himself head on. This punch broke the bones of the master right in front of him. Li Chen was extremely fast, turned around and kicked out, just kicking the blade. Ding! All the people below covered their ears and screamed in pain. The tiles on the eaves exploded one after another. The surrounding glass also shattered at the same time. The main reason was that the sound was too scary. If Wu Chuping hadn't set up defenses in advance, the people below might have died. Even so, everyone had blood in their ears. Li Chen fought 1 against 3 and easily dealt with it. His figure was almost close to the strong man with the knife. It seems that you are a member of the Red Skull, Li Chen said. He remembered that the Red Skull members had a unique aura. Boom! A knife fell on Li Chen's head. Under the exclamations and terrifying gazes of the crowd, the knife landed steadily 3 inches above Li Chen's head. However, the knife could not fall down. The face of this knife-wielding warrior showed a touch of astonishment and doubt, as if he could not believe his own eyes. Li Chen smiled, stretched out 2 fingers, and tapped the man's chest. At the same time, he pushed away the blade and went to take his mask. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 465. Red Skull, the strongest organization in the world. It has existed for a very long time. It is said that there are many strong people inside. It is the only and strongest organization besides the Huaxia Inspection Department. No one knows how many masters they have, and no one knows what the situation is inside their organization. However, every time they appear, they are accompanied by a lot of blood and rain. The demise of Li Chen's family is due to their shadow. They are very strong. At one time, they also forced Li Chen into a desperate situation. Now, in order to kill him, they even sent out the early stage of the heavenly man realm, which shows how much they value him. A strong man in the heavenly man realm is a powerful person in any place. Li Chen did not believe that this strong man in the heavenly man realm was just an ordinary killer. So, when he reached out to take the mask, Wu Chuping and others below had already widened their eyes. Unless the Red Skull personnel have been in seclusion, otherwise, the strong men at that time were more or less famous. Bang! The mask shattered, and a face was revealed. Chi Zonglong. At this moment, Wu Chuping and other strong men of the older generation recognized this member of the Red Skull. Qi Zonglong, one of the 8 Dharma kings. Qi Zonglong was a strong man 50 years ago, and he was mainly active 50 years ago. After 50 years, there are almost no traces of his activities. The moment Wu Chuping called out this strong man, he turned around and ran outside. Not good. Li Chen's face also changed slightly, and he said, "What's wrong?" The Red Skull member Dragon Elephant is inseparable. Since Qi Zonglong is here, Qi Zongxiang must be here too. Wu Chuping ran wildly and headed straight to where Li Biwu and Li Zifeng were. Hearing this, Li Chen's eyes became colder little by little. He grabbed Qi Zonglong with one hand and took a step towards the master of boxing and the strong man with a dagger. If these guys really dare to openly repair the plank road and secretly cross Chenkang, then he will kill this shitty Red Skull and the other big families who are calculating, and turn the world upside down. Li Chen grabbed the strong man who used boxing just now with one hand, and his right arm was completely shattered by Li Chen. The powerful force destroyed the bones and flesh of the entire arm. Even if he is a strong man in the heavenly realm and has a certain self-recovery ability, he can't expect to recover in a short time, and his combat effectiveness is naturally greatly reduced. The strong man turned around and wanted to escape. He believed that one of him and the other person would be able to escape. It depends on who Li Chen will chase first. As a strong man in the heavenly realm, he still has this confidence. The 2 strong men didn't want to fight, and at this moment they just wanted to escape from this place and spread the news. It's too scary, this evil seed of the Li family must have a problem. It seems that the thing of the Li family is mostly on Li Chen. Otherwise, there is no way to explain Li Chen's rapid progress in a short time. Want to escape? Li Chen had a faint burst of anger, really thinking that he was made of mud. Chase. Just as Li Chen was chasing the Tianren realm expert who used boxing, the other 7 masters rose into the air and stopped the sword expert. Get lost, the sword expert was angry. 6 grand masters plus a mid-level grand master wanted to stop him. Daiyu, there are not many sword masters in the world. Your sword is too eye-catching. Meng Xiangyun blocked the retreat. Although we can't take you down, it shouldn't be a big problem for 7 masters to stop you. What do you think? Dongfang Qiu. Get out of the way, the masked man shouted and slashed at Meng Xiangyun and others with a sword. We are indebted to him. We haven't achieved anything today. We must show some results. Meng Xiangyun laughed and his momentum rose. Kill. The 7 masters came at the same time. Even if they can't kill you, Dongfang Qiu, can't they stop you? When Li Chen solves the person who is unknown from which of the other 3 families, you will be out of fun. Li Chen took a step forward and shrunk the earth into an inch. With one hand pressed down, the whole world seemed to be imprisoned. Wu Chuping went to save Li Biwu and Li Zifeng, hoping that his guess was false. Otherwise, the Grand Master Nangong Hongchuo and the mid-level Grand Master Shen Jian would definitely not be able to stop a person in the early stage of the heavenly man realm. Li Chen was extremely fast, and he arrived in front of the boxing master in almost an instant and slapped him with a palm. The heavenly man realm strongman suddenly closed his eyes, as if waiting to die. When Li Chen's palm fell, the figure collapsed. Li Chen was stunned, his eyes narrowed slightly, and he exhaled a breath of turbid air and said, "You are looking for death yourself." As Li Chen's killing intent was revealed, Qi Zonglong's knife hummed. Between heaven and earth, it seemed to resonate with this knife. Li Chen pointed his finger at the northwest direction and slashed with his long sword, slashing out a stunning blow. A figure appeared, his face changed with horror, and he exclaimed, "Stop, I surrender." The void was locked. The gap between them was so big that he had no room to escape. However, Li Chen was extremely indifferent and did not retract the sword. "Li Chen, kill me, and your daughter will be finished." The roar of this person changed his tone. He never thought that there would be a day when his life would be threatened by someone in the heaven realm. "You bastard, you are plotting against my Li family, but you are plotting against my daughter. No matter who you are today or who is behind you, I will kill you all." The cold killing intent in Li Chen's voice could be heard throughout the sky and underground. He was angry. "No," the master of the heaven realm roared, "you can't kill me, you." Boom. The sharp long sword cut a knife mark of more than 10 meters. The boxing master could only watch the blade fall, splitting his mask in half, and finally shattering himself. Boom. The sky, which should have been clear, suddenly became cloudy and rainy at this moment. Thunder exploded and lightning intertwined in the sky. The sky seemed to be crying. The heaven realm is the closest to the immortals on earth, and it is not an exaggeration to say that they are immortals. If they die, there will be strange phenomena in heaven and earth. Li Chen had no mercy at all. He grabbed the body that had been cut in half with one hand and turned to look at the sword master who was intercepted. An unspeakable sense of oppression and fear filled the heart of the Tianren realm master. He knew that the man was not Li Chen's opponent, but he never expected that the battle would end in an instant. How many seconds was it? An existence in the early stage of Tianren realm fell like this. When Li Chen came quickly, the sword master knew that he could not escape. Who would be willing to die easily after practicing to this point? "I surrender." A long sword burst out with endless sword light with Li Chen, and slashed directly at the sword master. The sword master changed color in horror. He never thought that Li Chen would not accept surrender at all. "Li Chen, you are crazy. It's not us who want to catch your daughter, but the Red Skull. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 466. No matter where the strong men in the heavenly man realm are, they are superior. In some places and countries, they are comparable to leaders. Because they are the real power holders. That is to say, the martial arts are prosperous in China, and there is a patrol inspection department to guard it, so even the heavenly man realm dare not act rashly. This does not mean that the strong men in the heavenly man realm are cabbages. Even if either side of the war is defeated, the strong men in the heavenly man realm will never be killed if they are caught. Because neither side can afford the loss, nor can they afford the step of starting a war. But Li Chen didn't. What about the strong men in the heavenly man realm? "I, Li Chen, don't care. I have tolerated your calculations against me, but you even want to involve children in it. Do you really think that I, Li Chen, am made of mud?" Buzz. This sword master will naturally not sit and wait for death. While roaring in anger, the short sword in his hand buzzes. Countless sword shadows appeared between heaven and earth. The short sword split into 3, and 3 into 9. After the 9 sword shadows circled around the heavenly man realm sword master, they suddenly merged and grew larger, and blasted towards the giant sword light that was slashing down from the sky. Meng Shangyun immediately led his men to retreat, and they had no choice but to retreat. The battle between the heavenly man realm masters was not something they could get involved in. Too powerful. The swords and the blades collided, and at that moment, the whole world seemed to be quiet. It was like a sudden loss of voice. The next moment, there was a sound of glass breaking, followed by a rumbling sound. The sword master spit out blood again, and his whole breath seemed a little messy. At this moment, Li Chen had already grabbed Qi Zonglong and appeared above the head of the sword master. A foot stomped down. The sword master spit out blood again in frustration, and stabbed his foot in the air with the sword. Boom! This swordsman was like a reflected cannonball, and was stepped into the ground by Li Chen. After a dull explosion, smoke and dust rolled below. A huge deep pit appeared, and a smoke ring with a diameter of about 5 meters rolled up around it. "Watch him," Li Chen said, and Meng Xiangyun and others below swallowed their saliva. "Li Chen is too strong." Li Chen, who was holding Qi Zonglong, had cold eyes, and he could cover a distance of 100 meters in one step. It was a different scene. His car was scrapped. It became scrap metal. Shen Jian was covered in blood and had multiple fractures all over his body. He was almost hanging on with one breath. And Nangong Hongchuo in front was even worse, with one arm full of white bones. However, these two people took all the damage. Li Zifeng was unharmed, but Li Biwu was caught by the opponent. Wu Chuping was fighting this fiercely now, and he seemed a little afraid of the consequences. When Li Chen came, Wu Chuping felt even more guilty and didn't know what to say. When he reacted, it was too late. Li Chen looked at Li Biwu, who was caught but didn't cry, and his killing intent reached the extreme. With the arrival of Li Chen, Wu Chuping also blocked the way and didn't make any more moves. Seeing Qi Zonglong in Li Chen's hand, the Tianren realm strongman who held Li Biwu looked over. "Xiao Wu. Daddy," Li Biwu struggled after seeing Li Chen. "Don't worry, the uncle on the opposite side won't hurt you," Li Chen smiled. Xiao Wu is still young and doesn't understand many things. Moreover, he didn't want Xiao Wu to be afraid. After hearing what Li Chen said, Li Biwu really gave up struggling. Obediently in that man's arms. Qi Zongxiang glanced at Li Chen and Li Biwu in his arms, then smiled and said, "Let's exchange people, it's fair." Li Chen glanced at Qi Zonglong, who was smiling in his hand, and said, "Okay." Now it was Qi Zongxiang's turn to be stunned. "Don't you feel wronged?" 10 masters of the heavenly realm are not as precious as my daughter," Li Chen said lightly. "Are you satisfied with this answer?" Qi Zongxiang obviously couldn't accept this reason. "It's just a child, what's the use? Just a burden." If it were him, he wouldn't exchange. There are simply too many places where the strong people in the heavenly realm can be used. It's not comparable to a child at all. Just now he just said it casually, but he didn't expect Li Chen to be so straightforward. Now, he was a little hesitant. Since Li Chen cherishes this child so much, then the child is a breakthrough. Once the child is really handed over, it is very likely that neither of them can get away. "I suddenly don't want to change it anymore," Qi Zongxiang smiled at Li Chen. "Since you said that 10 masters of the heaven realm are not as good as your daughter, then I'd better keep your daughter." Li Chen's face gradually turned cold, and he reminded, "I don't know if you believe in the physique of the star of disaster." Qi Zongxiang was confused. "What does it mean?" "The little girl in your arms is, there was once a fool, who seemed to be one of your red skulls, who used her to threaten me, and ended up in a miserable state." Li Chen pointed at Li Biwu. "Although I don't believe in these metaphysical things, facts have proved that anyone who has bad intentions towards my daughter will be unlucky and suffer disasters." Ha ha ha. Hearing this, Qi Zongxiang couldn't help laughing. "Disaster? Disaster star?" Qi Zongxiang almost laughed to tears. "Li Chen, we are all strong men in the realm of heaven and man after all. Do you know what the realm of heaven and man is? It is one with the sky. You are a martial arts cultivator, but you actually believe in this kind of metaphysical stuff. This little guy is so cute. You said she has the constitution of a disaster star. Why don't you let him bring disaster to me? Is this wicked son of the Li family a fool? How can he make up such a clumsy reason?" Li Chen looked at the still dark sky and drizzle, and the lightning approaching in the distance, and nodded. To be honest, Li Chen was worried before he was sure whether the two little guys were safe. But now, the other party has captured Li Biwu, so he is not so worried. Although he also thinks that it is nonsense that anyone who wants to harm Xiao Wu will be unlucky, but this kind of nonsense has happened many times. Without exception. If the other party really captures Xiao Feng, he will really be helpless. After hearing this, Wu Chuping looked at the gloomy sky and the occasional lightning and began to retreat. For some reason, he suddenly felt a little uneasy at this moment. He couldn't explain why he felt this way, and quietly moved further away from Qi Zongxiang. Li Chen sealed Qi Zonglong's meridians, threw this guy aside, and said, "If you are willing to exchange, I will agree immediately, but I think you'd better let my daughter go quickly. The more hostile you are to her, the more dangerous you will be." The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 467. The more anxious Li Chen was, the less anxious Qi Zongxiang was. He was also in the heavenly man realm, and he also sensed the changes between heaven and earth, but he didn't care. Because the heavenly man realm also has the ability to seek benefits and avoid harm. As for the little girl in his arms, he would not believe in any metaphysical theory. Li Chen looked at the rolling black clouds, his expression becoming more and more solemn. The power of thunder is the purest masculine power between heaven and earth. If it strikes a person, even a strong man in the heavenly man realm can't stand it, right? Rumble. As the drizzle fell, the whole world became hazy. There was a state of seeing flowers in the fog. Wu Chuping took Li Zifeng to retreat. This ghost place made him, a strong man in the early stage of the heavenly man realm, feel extremely depressed. Li Zifeng looked at his captured sister with some worry, unwilling to leave. "You leave with me first, your father will take care of it," Wu Chuping advised. Years of intuition and experience told him that something big might happen next. But Li Zifeng was a little anxious, and suddenly froze and said, "Where is Daodu? Daodu? When did you still care about a dog? That dog is so smart, how could it not know to get out of the way?" Wu Chuping hugged her and ran away regardless of Li Zifeng's consent. Yes, a strong man in the heavenly realm turned around and ran. It was really that the energy here that made him palpitate was getting stronger and stronger. "Xiahua is gone too." "Xiahua," Wu Chuping fled quickly and caught Nangong Hongchuo and Shenjian. "It's that snake," Li Zifeng said, "I don't know when they disappeared." Wu Chuping didn't care about these two animals at all, so he didn't care, they must have hidden, and when the danger is over, they will come out. Li Zifeng frowned slightly, she always felt that it was not the case. The only ones left around were Li Chen, Qi Zonglong, and Qi Zongxiang, who caught Li Biwu. The two stood on the ground, facing each other. The mist was hazy, and Qi Zongxiang was in absolute control at the moment. "Li Chen, time is running out, do you agree or not?" Qi Zongxiang's hand was already on Li Biwu's neck. Seeing this scene, Li Chen's eyes condensed slightly, and his murderous intent boiled. "If you dare to touch her hair, I will kill you," Li Chen threatened in a cold voice. He. Qi Zongxiang didn't care at all, but provoked, "Give the person to me, I promise to let your little cutie go immediately after I leave." No one noticed that at this time, a red snake on the ground had drilled into Qi Zonglong's clothes. Qi Zonglong's eyes widened, and he wanted to speak, but he couldn't say a word. He felt his body was cold, and he could only watch the snake drill into his body. When he felt even more angry, a dog in the water actually came over with an iron rod in his mouth. Qi Zonglong could only watch the dog again and directly insert the iron rod into his body. Where did this wild dog come from? It's so smart. Qi Zonglong was ashamed and angry, but unfortunately he couldn't move now, let alone speak. He could only watch a dog bullying him. The iron rod pierced into his flesh and blood, and the bright red blood began to flow, blending with the fine rain around him. Woof woof. Daodu stepped on Qi Zonglong's head with one paw, raised his head, and barked at Qi Zongxiang fiercely. The posture and expression could be understood by people who didn't understand animal language. This dog was threatening him, Qi Zongxiang. Even though Qi Zongxiang had seen a lot of storms, he was a little dazed and shocked at this moment. A dog, can it be like this? Qi Zonglong's face turned pale little by little. He had been beaten badly by Li Chen before, and now Daodu had stabbed him near his heart with an iron rod. Even a strong man like Qi Zonglong couldn't bear it. Qi Zongxiang narrowed his eyes. He was actually threatened by a dog. You can take the person away, but you must ensure the safety of my daughter, Li Chen spoke. Okay, Qi Zongxiang replied gloomily, but I have another condition. You say. Let your dog bring the person to me. What do you want to do? Li Chen was a little annoyed. A beast dares to threaten me. Do you really think that you can be humiliated at any time in the realm of heaven and man? Qi Zongxiang smiled grimly. If you are willing, I can release your daughter immediately. Li Chen's expression was uncertain, and Daodu also looked at Li Chen with a complicated look. If Li Chen wanted to exchange Daodu for Li Biwu, would Daodu still be willing? Although it was just a dog, Qi Zongxiang also wanted revenge and torture. Daughter and dog, you can only choose one. Daodu. Woo woo. Go over there, Li Chen pointed to Qi Zongxiang's side. Daodu sobbed and shook his head, as if he didn't expect this to happen. Go over there, Li Chen scolded. The man and the dog were in a stalemate, and Qi Zongxiang smiled. Sure enough, it was right to alienate the man and the dog. It was a pity that no matter how smart the beast was, it was still just a beast and would be abandoned one day. Daodu hung his head, seemed very lost, bit Qi Zonglong's clothes, and dragged Qi Zonglong, who looked painful but couldn't help smiling, slowly over. The blood left a long trail in the rain. The rain was getting heavier and the sound was getting louder. Boom! In the sky, huge flashes of lightning illuminated the entire sky, followed by thunder. Daodu, Li Biwu stared with big round eyes and struggled to shout. Ah! Daodu raised his head, put down Qi Zonglong, and looked at Li Biwu. Qi Zongxiang sneered, you might become a dead dog later. I agreed to all your requests, now it's your turn, Li Chen scolded. Don't worry, I will fulfill my promise, Qi Zongxiang sneered, glanced at Daodu beside him, and reached out to grab Qi Zongxiang. At this moment, Daodu, who was still in a low mood, suddenly pounced on him. Beast, you are looking for death, Qi Zongxiang was furious. A dog dared to attack him. Hiss. Ah! Qi Zongxiang was shocked, a thick red snake rushed straight to his palm and bit it hard. Qi Zongxiang let go of Li Biwu in pain, and Li Biwu rolled to the ground. The thick red snake retreated after biting and stayed beside Li Biwu. On the other side, Daodu's teeth bit off a piece of meat fiercely. Li Chen and Li Biwu were shocked when they saw this scene. Is Daodu's bite force so strong? Beast, you are looking for death, Qi Zongxiang was furious. Li Chen, who had been waiting for a long time, appeared almost like lightning. While picking up Li Biwu, he smashed Qi Zonglong's body with an iron rod. Qi Zongxiang was shocked and angry. In a flash, he finally chose to save his people. As for Daodu, he ran away without a trace. Qi Zongxiang was furious and his heart twitched violently. He looked at the little red snake with cold eyes and punched it. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 468. Boom! Thunder exploded in the sky. The surging black clouds exploded with a terrible sound, as if half of the sky was about to collapse. When Li Chen picked up Li Biwu, he grabbed Xiahua with his right hand. Li Chen fled the area at almost the fastest speed. Qi Zongxiang didn't realize why this happened for a while. He saw Qi Zonglong in his arms looking at the back and up with a look of horror. When Qi Zongxiang turned back suddenly, everything was too late. No. Qi Zongxiang was shocked and angry, and saw a thick purple lightning falling towards the two brothers. At this moment, Qi Zongxiang's mind was full of question marks. Why did the lightning strike me? Boom! The thunder could be clearly seen between heaven and earth. It was too magnificent and too terrifying. The thunder was triggered by an iron rod near Qizonglong's heart and instantly transmitted to the bodies of the two brothers. This is the most powerful and masculine force under heaven and earth. I don't know why, but it seems particularly violent today. Boom. Ah. Qizonglong and Qizongxiang both wailed. The restraints on Qizonglong were all lifted, which shows how strong this force is. The two brothers used all their strength, but were almost destroyed by this force. Boom. The electric pole as thick as a bucket suddenly slammed down, and the whole area seemed to be bathed in the holy light of thunder. This is also known as the largest thunder spectacle in the history of Rongcheng. Many people who don't know the truth think that this thunder is the thunder god coming to the world. With the collapse of the four major families, many people said that this thunder was a punishment from heaven for the wicked. Li Chen, who was hiding far away, couldn't help but shudder. Even if I, a late-stage Tianren realm cultivator, resist it, I can't bear it, right? Damn, a bucket-thick thunder can actually appear? The water in the far area seemed to have the power of thunder. Li Biwu did not look over there, but touched Xiahua. There was a dog dancing happily beside him. Li Chen kicked Daodu, and Daodu immediately howled. I know you act well, but I'm going to throw you out if you show off. Woo woo, Daodu leaned against Li Biwu's legs to seek comfort. Little master, teach your master a lesson. He threatened me. Thank you, Daodu. Li Biwu touched Daodu's wet head. Ever since he knew that his dog was an actor, Li Chen didn't believe it very much. I always felt that the dog was acting. But he never expected that in the scene just now, Daodu actually took over Li Chen's play. What's more terrible is that the bite force of this bitch is so strong. At first, he thought that Daodu stabbed Qizonglong with an iron rod just for revenge. Now it seems that this dog is much smarter than he thought. Maybe, if I don't come this time, Daodu can also protect Xiao. After all, few people will regard a dog as a threat. Even I won't, let alone those who don't know. Looking at the raging thunder in the distance and the two guys who have become sculptures, Li Chen sighed. It's a pity that the two masters of the Red Skull ended their lives like this. Li Chen picked up Xiao, Xiahua wrapped around Xiao, and Daodu followed behind Li Chen, walking towards the two dark figures. There is no breath of life at all. Li Chen shook his hand, and the two corpses turned into black powder and merged into the rain, and finally flowed into the sewer. When Li Chen came back with Li Biwu in his arms, the sky began to clear up again. Cai-Wu and others looked at the scene with despair. The four great heavenly realms couldn't deal with Li Chen, and everyone was disheartened. Yang Ming and Yang Ning, the father and son, had the most complicated expressions. They knew Li Chen very well, so they were most shocked by the scene in front of them. Others might think this was natural, but the father and son of the Yang family would not. The look they gave Li Chen became more respectful and fearful. Li Chen glanced at the people from the three major families and said, "Take them away first, and I will deal with them after I finish my work. Senior Wu, please go to the three major families first and cooperate with my people to clean up the four major families." Okay, Wu Chuping put Li Zifeng down. Li Zifeng ran to Li Biwu's side, took her stupid sister to look for a long time, and was relieved to make sure that there was no injury. Chun'er entertained Xiaofeng and Xiao. Li Chen smiled at Yang Chun. Okay, Yang Chun took people outside. Yun Fengling finally chose to go out. Only Li Chen, Yang Ming, and Yang Ning were left in the house. I'll help you heal your leg injury first. Li Chen didn't plan to hide it. Many medical equipment and tools were taken out directly from the system space. Yang Ning bit a wooden stick and nodded, and Li Chen began to clean his wound. The Liang family was very cruel. After breaking Yang Ning's leg, he repeatedly beat him in the following days. Therefore, Yang Ning's injuries have not healed, and are even getting worse. As Li Chen began to treat him, Yang Ning's forehead was covered with cold sweat. His old father Yang Ming, who was standing by, was heartbroken. They never thought that there would be a day when they could be cured, and the person who treated him was Li Chen. What did this young master go through during his disappearance? Li Chen concentrated on treatment, bone setting, and medicine. These are the best medicines. With his treatment, he will be almost cured in less than a month. But he can't walk around freely for the next month. When Li Chen carefully bandaged the wound, Yang Ning's face turned pale. However, he has survived now. Thank you. I should say thank you. Li Chen smiled and said, if it weren't for our Li family, I don't think you would have gotten involved in this muddy water. Young master. It's all over. Li Chen waved his hand. Yang Ming was about to say something but stopped. Li Chen said calmly, my Li family doesn't know how to judge people. This is my Li family's problem. I also know what your Yang family has done. My parents are gone now. I am the head of the Li family. I will pay you back what I owe you. No, that's not what I mean. Yang Ming waved his hand quickly. Listen to me. Li Chen held Yang Ming's rough old hand and said, it's my Li family who owes it. There's no reason for my Li family not to pay it back. I've sent someone to make arrangements. You can choose to stay here or go somewhere else. What about you, young master? Me, Li Chen smiled and said, I'll go back after dealing with the mess in Rongcheng. Anyway, I've avenged myself. The Li family's property. The Li family's property will be temporarily recovered and taken over by someone else. It would be best if Uncle Yang is willing to help me again. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 469. Yang Ming was slightly startled, perhaps because he did not expect this result. May I? Of course you can, Li Chen said with great certainty. If Uncle Yang and Uncle Yang don't want to do anything in the future, they can resign at any time. Yang Ming and Yang Ning looked at each other. Obviously both father and son were very moved. Although the property left by my parents has been divided up, the 4 major families have been wiped out by me, and people still need to take care of it. Li Chen continued, if Uncle Yang's family helps me, that would save me a lot of worry. Yang Ming sighed a little, just be afraid. If Uncle Yang is willing, I will leave everything to you, Li Chen said. In addition, the Yang family also holds shares. This is impossible. Yang Ming shook his head repeatedly. Li Chen shook his head and said, no matter what, it was my grandfather and my father who mistreated your Yang family and raised a white-eyed wolf. If Uncle Yang and Uncle Yang are willing, they can go wherever they want. If you don't want to, that's okay. After finishing speaking, Li Chen took out several more real estate certificates. Things have been taken care of, and there are houses in different places. If you get tired of living in one place, you can change your place to live. Yang Ming and Yang Ning looked blankly at the 5 or 6 real estate certificates in front of them. Master Yang Ming waved his hand slightly and said, we can't ask for these things. We have to work for the Li family. The Li family has already paid us wages. Then consider it as your future salary, Li Chen said domineeringly. Okay, don't refuse these. By the way, I heard that you are also injured, Uncle Yang. Can I take a look? Yang Ming didn't know whether to laugh or cry, so he had no choice but to stretch out his hand. Well, it's okay. It's not too serious. I'll give you a prescription. Just take a few doses and it'll be fine, Li Chen said. Yang Ning also let out a sigh of relief, as long as his father's injury was okay. Who are you? Now that you have destroyed our family, you must give us an explanation. Just when Li Chen and Yang Ming and his son were about to continue talking, there was a lot of noise outside. Li Chen could only open the door of Yang's house with a slight frown and walked outside. When they saw Li Chen coming out, the voices of the neighbors immediately became muted. They had all seen Li Chen kill people just because of a disagreement. Even the four major families were caught in the same pot, but they didn't think they were better than the members of the four major families. After a great battle, more than half of this urban village, which looked like a slum, collapsed. It's no wonder these residents are causing trouble. The two brothers Pei Jiangnan and Pei Zhongyuan were already here. When they saw Li Chen coming out, they immediately came over. "Brother Chen." Li Chen pointed at those people and houses and said, "Check it out. Also, see how to deal with it here. If it can be solved with money, spend as much money as possible to solve it." Pei Jiangnan nodded to Pei Zhongyuan, who immediately waved. A large number of staff came in. Soon, someone said, "Master Pei, we found it." "Say," Pei Jiangnan said, standing next to Li Chen. This place was originally a production area belonging to the Li family, but after it was annexed by the four major families, the development here has been idle. Mainly because the Yang family is here. Needless to say, it goes without saying that the Liang family did not end the matter personally, but used these common people to put pressure on the Yang Ming family. Everyone could originally move out and get demolition money, but now the Yang family is completely out of luck. On the Liang family's side, it was mainly Liang Jiali who used public opinion and everyone's pressure to force Yang Ning's wife Yun Fengling to submit. However, no one thought that Yun Fengling would be so determined. It's no wonder these people hate Yang Ming's family so much. Pei Jiangnan looked at Li Chen, and the people around him were staring at Li Chen and the others with an angry look. First, integrate all the industries of the four major families, and estimate the value of this place, and give it as much as you need. After building this place, it will be the address of the new company, and build another part of the park. What should I do? How to distribute? Okay, Pei Jiangnan immediately went to discuss with these people with Li Chen's intention. Initially, they all had a stern look on their face, but when they heard Pei Jiangnan say that this place was going to be demolished, their minds immediately changed. Of course, this matter is troublesome to do, but Pei Jiangnan has already been prepared and waiting for this day to arrive. Therefore, it was not as fast as expected. Some people felt that Li Chen's price was too low and unreasonable, so they wanted to ask for an exorbitant price, which was naturally punished by Pei Jiangnan. His method is also simple. If anyone thinks it is too low, then there will be no demolition here. As for money and houses, no one can get them. The market price given by Pei Jiangnan is only a lot more. If these people are still greedy, there is nothing they can do. Moreover, who doesn't know now who has the right to speak in Chengdu? Pei Jiangnan doesn't talk nonsense. If one person disagrees, the rest will not benefit. Those who disagree do not feel that they are part of the Yang Ming family, let alone have the blessings of the Yang Ming family. Finally, after wrangling for a long time, everyone agreed. At this time, Pei Jiangnan offered some preferential conditions. For example, in order to make up for everyone's losses, the Yang family and the Li family would compensate each household an additional 100,000 yuan. This immediately made the reluctant residents feel a lot more comfortable. Li Chen had no intention of getting involved in this matter, but left it directly to Pei Jiangnan. At the same time, the four major families. Du Yue sat quietly in the reception hall, watching the extremely capable Shen Yanqing and Wu Chuping walking in with a large group of people. "I've met Mr. Du," Shen Yanqing greeted him. Du Yue opened his eyes, smiled and said, "I've been waiting for a long time, sit down." Shen Yanqing was not polite, looked at Du Yue and said, "The Li family wants to acquire everything in the Du family. Mr. Du, do you have any objections?" "Ha." Du Yue shook his head. When his son and grandson didn't come back, he already knew he had lost. "I thought I would lose, but I didn't expect to lose so quickly. Can you give me a message? You say. If there is a chance, I hope Li Chen can find out who is behind all this, and destroy the Red Skull, Du Yo said. I will, Shen Yanqing nodded. So, very good, Du Yo's nodded, ready to take the poison. Actually, they are not dead. Director Li has arranged air tickets for you to go abroad. Shen Yanqing put the tickets on the table. If you are willing, you can join them now, but I hope we will take over. Don't have too many obstacles when it comes to the Du family's property. After saying that, Shen Yanqing stood up, bowed slightly to Du Yo's, and then left. Li Hoxian, your son is better than you. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 470. Airport. Du Jiale and other disabled people were still waiting anxiously, but there was no news of Du Yo's arrival. I'm coming. They saw several figures from a distance, but there was still no one of Du Yo's. The head of the family. Where's my dad? Du Jiale asked, covered in blood and flesh. This is the record left by the old man. Du Jiale turned on his phone and there was a video inside. Later, when you see this video, I have already gone. Du Jiale and others turned pale. The Du family was so greedy that they couldn't control their desires and greed. They pushed them to the step by step. It is right that the Du family should be destroyed today. I, Du Yuz, am greedy, but I also hope that our Chengdu will be better. Li Chen graciously let us go, but eventually someone has to pay back everything. Don't think about revenge. Find a place where they don't know you and start your life again. Rong Chen, don't come back. Everyone in the Du family burst into tears. Anyway, the Du family has been standing for so long, and there are still a lot of good things. We don't need them anymore. Giving them to the Li family can be regarded as continuing the glory of our Du family. Thinking about it this way, it's actually quite good, right? Seeing the old man laughing in the video, everyone felt heavy. Li Chen didn't destroy them, which was already a great gift. Everyone who deserves to die is dead, and most of the remaining members of the Du family are not guilty of any serious crimes. Even Du Jiale was not the one who personally poisoned Li Chuanlong. That was a job Feng Taijun took on himself and had nothing to do with the Du family. It's just that the Du family wanted the Li family to be destroyed at that time, so they didn't stop it. You go, I won't go out. As I get older, my hometown is more suitable for me. The scene stopped abruptly. Du Yuz burst into tears and looked into the distance and said, Li Chen, the Du family will give you a safe and complete Du family industrial chain. There will be no disputes. From now on, my Du family will never step foot here again. Everyone in the Du family knelt down and kowtowed, then turned and left. Once you go there, you will never be able to set foot on this land again. Liang family. The Liang family has done the most evil things. Liang Jinmei, the old lady of the Liang family, hanged herself after seeing Shen Yanqing. Because apart from her, the three Liang families, Liang Yizhu, Liang Yuhan, and Liang Yiwen, were all wiped out. 90% of all evil deeds were arranged by the Liang family. However, there is still one direct descendant of the Liang family who survives, and that is Liang Molan. This person is not keen on power or influence, she is just a simple lady from a wealthy family. When Li Hoxian and his wife died, there were always people paying homage to them, and this person was Liang Molan. Therefore, Li Chen said that Liang Molan must stay. At this point, all the direct descendants of the Liang family are gone. As for the Cai family, there is no one left. The main reason is that the Cai family has played too many dirty tricks behind the scenes, and they are the same as the Liang family. The Cai family's property was also the most troublesome for Shen Yanqing to collect. Cai Wenhong, an old man who never died, reported the news to the capital after learning that the incident was revealed. Therefore, the possibility that the backer of the Cai family is the Red Skull is basically ruled out. Shen Yanqing cultivated a large number of manpower, but still felt that it was not enough. It is obviously not an easy task to quickly integrate the entire chaotic Chengdu. Li Chen was not in a hurry and did not rush him. Originally, Li Chen wanted to talk things over with Yang Ming, but now they have too many things to deal with, so they can only put it aside. 3 days later, Li Chen lay on the sofa exhausted, with Li Biwu still sitting on his stomach. "Daddy." Li Biwu lay down and said, "Get up quickly. It can't be done, it can't be done. Dad can't do it anymore." Li Chen waved his hand, "You go find Daodu and Xiahua to accompany you." "No, no, no," Li Biwu pouted her pink lips and hummed, "Xiaowu wants daddy." "I'm really scared of you." Li Chen sat up again and said, "Are you ready?" "Yeah." Li Biwu's eyes were shining with excitement. "Rock paper scissors." "Yeah, daddy loses, daddy loses." Li Biwu's eyes were crooked, and his beautiful eyelashes were like fans. "Hurry up." She tilted her face slightly, waiting for Li Chen's next move. "Bo." Giggle. Li Biwu, who was kissed by Papa, smiled happily. This made Li Zifeng sitting aside feel serious contempt. Ding dong. When he heard the doorbell ringing, Li Chen said, "Xiaowu, daddy has to do some serious business. You play with your sister." "Okay." Li Biwu crawled towards Li Zifeng. "Go away. Sister, let's play." "I don't want it." Li Zifeng was disgusted. "Who knows how to play rock, paper, scissors? Then, let's play something else, okay?" "Not playing." "Humph, ignore sister." Li Chen opened the door and saw Shen Yanqing, Pei Jiangnan and others coming, so he pointed to the small living room. The group of people sat down. "How is it?" Li Chen poured tea for them. "I'm so exhausted." Pei Jiangnan took a sip of water and said, "The ending this time is really too troublesome." Everyone else nodded, including Yang Ming. Yang Ming knew that the mess was too big this time, so he took the initiative to take over the work. "Then tell me first." Li Chen sat down. He was used to being a hands-off boss anyway. "Pei Jiang," he said, "let me tell you first. Now we have control over the Gao family on the surface, and secretly handed it over to Gao Durong to take care of it. Gao Durong is only thinking about revenge now. When we are stable here, he said he will go to the capital. Everyone also knows why Gao Durong went to the capital. This is good. At least there is a thorn that is always there, and the capital may think of it. Then there is Emojia's Hung. This guy also plans to wait for the critical moment to kill others." Pei Jiang, he said, "If nothing unexpected happens, we can lock in a mastermind behind the scenes." "Who?" "Dongfang family." Li Chen was slightly startled. "Dongfang family?" Among the 4 major families at the first level of the capital, Dongfang and Situ are the most low-key. The Zheng family may be ranked last, but it is the most high-profile, followed by the Xianyuan family. For some reason, Li Chen suddenly thought of Dongfang Yaoqing and Dongfang Yajun, a mother and son who had been living next to Murong Shui's house. It seemed that they were from the Dongfang family. "That's what Emojia's Hung said." Pei Jiang, he shrugged and said, "That's how I handle things here." Pei Zhongyuan continued, "The statistics for demolition and reconstruction have come out. Demolition requires about 1 billion in compensation. In addition, the land will cost about 1.5 billion. If all is rebuilt, including some basic budgets for the later stage, at least 8.6 billion will be needed. In other words, this side will need about 11.1 billion, Li Chen said. Yes. Li Chen didn't waste any words and just transferred the money directly.